Hello there, this is Elena and my channel Enough, English version of it Enough of Propaganda. Putin's new nuclear threat exposed. That's what we're going to talk about today. And also, I'll show you Russian ballistic missile Sarmat attached to a car for some reason as a hello to Biden. So we'll have some more fun today. And also we will talk about why Putin keep making those nuclear threats, what is going on, and how to respond to it. So this is what we're gonna talk about today. Let's see what Putin has to say.
У нас стратегия наша применения средств защиты, а именно как защиту мы рассматриваем оружие массового поражения, ядерное оружие. Она вся настроена вокруг так называемого ответно-встречного удара. Угроза ядерной.
That is amazing. He is using nuclear weapons, a nuclear strike as a defense. Unbelievable. How about diplomacy? How about not to start aggressive wars anywhere in the world? And how about that as a defense? Nobody was attacking Russia. Ukraine didn't attack Russia. NATO didn't attack Russia. They were reducing their forces and planning to reduce it in 2015. And even Russians as enemies basically disappeared from the Hollywood movies. They started to be more like Americans and Russians saving the world together and so on. And Putin is talking about defense as a nuclear weapons as a defense. And that's what he has to say in on the TV Rain channel, published piece of his speech as well. I was talking about TV Rain in my other video. So let's see what he has to say in here.
У Соединенных Штатов есть теория превентивного удара.
United States had a theory of preemptive strike. He's talking about nuclear strike.
Первое. Второе. Они разрабатывают систему обезоруживающего удара.
That was first. And second, they are developing a system of disarming strike.
Что это такое? Это удар, нанесение удара с современными высокотехнологичными средствами.
What is it? It's when you strike with the modern weapons, high technological weapons,
которые по пунктам управления должен наноситься, лишать противника этих систем управления.
Those basically disarming strikes should be done on enemies' centers, command centers, and the centers where they make any decisions and so on. So.
И так далее. Если уж и говорить об этом обезоруживающем ударе.
If to talk about the disarming strike, so Putin is talking about Americans can do disarming strike, so they can attack, implying or they can attack Russians' command centers and so on.
То, может быть, подумать о том, чтобы взять на вооружение наработки наших американских партнеров и их идеи обеспечения своей безопасности.
We are thinking about maybe we should use the ideas of our American partners about that.
Мы просто думаем над этим. Никто же не стесняется, когда говорит об этом вслух в предыдущие времена и годы.
Well, we're just thinking about it. Oh no, we're not doing anything bad. We're just thinking about it. And only because United States doing that. And nobody is ashamed of talking about it. So we're just thinking about it. So this is nuclear threat as it gets. Putin again threatening the world with nukes. And again trying to blame someone else, like United States. That's Russia's favorite country to blame for everything. And at the same time, Russia wanted to become United States. And not they trying to say, Putin always trying to say Russians that United States getting away with everything, which isn't true. They not. And when they doing something not good, they getting blamed for it. They blaming themselves, and they're not getting away with stuff. Putin trying to tell Russians that United States getting away with everything, but what he's trying to do, he wants to become United States without any reason whatsoever, because Russia is not the world leader, and for the good reasons. Russia is not a big economy, with a being biggest country in the world with 143 or so million people living in the country. Russian economy is less than 2% of world economy. It's not United States in any way. Russia ruled by dictator, and the life of Russians is very poor to compare in other countries. So why in the world he's thinking he should be the world leader in the first place? Second of all, United States is world leader, accepted by other countries. It's one of the first, and most of the time the first economy in the world. It's a democratic country where people live good. I have been in 42 states of United States, and I can confirm that. I drove through United States. I saw how people live there. So Putin decided that he can stay on the same level as United States. But again, in United Nations, Russia has right of veto. And they, guess what? They're using it more than the world leader United States. So nobody abusing Russia by any means. That's for sure. So what kind of reasons Putin have to talk about nuclear strikes and so on? First of all, Putin is losing the war in Ukraine. He basically lost. He just delaying the end by throwing more and more Russian troops in the fire like logs. Right now in Bakhmut, they just piling up like piles of corpses, who is in open field with rusty assault rifles trying to attack Ukrainians and shooting at them. Of course, Ukrainians shooting back, and they just kill them. Another group coming, they kill them again. What they do, they put on the front line prisoners, convicts. Behind them going mobilized soldiers, newly mobilized, untrained soldiers. And behind them, there would be Wagner group, which is illegal by Russian law, mercenaries, who is shooting if people retreat from the first or second line. That's what's happening right now in Bakhmut. And Putin, there is no reason for that war. And I'm proving it on my channel several times, and I'll give you the links to my videos about it. Putin started the war in Ukraine in 2014. He has no reason to have that war, besides his imperial ambitions, and him being offended that Ukrainian ex-president Yanukovych ran away after Maidan protests. Nobody actually kicked him out of the country, he ran away by himself. Putin felt offended. That is why in the first days of the war, when Putin was believing that he's gonna be in Kiev in 3 days, they flew Yanukovych somewhere, either to Belarus or somewhere near Ukrainian border, so reinstate Yanukovych in Ukraine and show Ukrainians that I am the Tsar and you are the peasants, and this is my representative, my own monkey I can put on your throne, and making him your Tsar. It didn't happen. Why? Because Russia failed. There is no strategy in Russia. Russian commanders are fighting in World War I or World War II. By the way, Russia fighting this war, they don't have a modern day strategies, modern day war. Even Ukrainians almost feel sorry for them, because Ukrainians get trained now by Canada, by United States and so on, so they know what modern day war is. Russia doesn't. They fight in World War I, World War II. Right now, in many places, they fight in World War I. They don't have enough even weapons to fight it. And as I said, they don't have reason for the war, so they don't have moral grounds for that war. And many of them, when they get caught, they telling Mr. Zolkin on this channel, for instance, when they questioning Russian prisoners of war, why are you here? What are you doing in Ukraine? They don't know. They said, I don't know. I thought there are Nazis here. Well, did you find Nazis? No, I didn't. So this is what's happening. And also, there is no support. Russia is the aggressor. It doesn't have support even from neither from Belarus and their dictator Lukashenko, not even from India and China. Even Prime Minister of India, Modi, decided he's not gonna meet with Putin. Russia has a lot of people. They can mobilize more troops, somewhat more, but again, who is gonna train them? Mostly trained commanders died in the first months of the war. They killed. I have another video where I showing how poorly training officers. It's a piece of Russian propaganda video. With Shoigu visiting one of the training grounds. Russian officers don't even know how to train. They're very too young. They don't have combat experience. Many of them just brand new. So nobody can train them. There is no weapons enough. The rusty Kalashnikovs they can get. They don't have clothes. That's why Putin is afraid of the winter. Because Ukrainians gonna attack. Ukrainians gonna attack. And Russians don't even dress to be in that kind of weather. Canada, for instance, sent Ukrainians clothes for winter, and Russian troops doesn't have it. So Putin's complete disregard to human life, which he recently proved again with a meeting on the fake mothers of the mobilized soldiers, which basically many of them wasn't mothers or wasn't newly mobilized. One woman's son died in 2019, and so on. So Putin, with a smile on his face, I'll probably make a video about that as well, just telling the women that their sons are pieces of garbage, who should be happy that they have a purpose to die on Putin's war. It's supposed to be the goal of their life, to die for Putin's new yacht. Because otherwise they would drink themselves to death or die in a car crash. So he admitting publicly that he did not create a good life in the country, so the best social lift is to go to war for Russians. That not making him popular. Russians started to glue in now. And his popularity, and which wasn't as great as he said in the first place, is going down. Russian economy is going down as well. And poor storage of nuclear arsenal. What is Putin thinking? That he gonna push the button and everything gonna work? Judging by the rusty tanks and rusty Kalashnikovs, and conversations of Russian troops on the front, which were intercepted, and they were saying that, well, yeah, we do have tanks, but half of the tanks can move, but they cannot shoot. And another half can shoot, but cannot move. So you think nuclear weapons stored better? I don't think so. Why? Because I know. I was researching it for my book in 2017, and I know how they stored. And I know, being a Canadian, that in 90s, many countries, especially Canada, farmers from Saskatchewan remember that very well, how they were paying to decommission Russian nuclear submarines, for instance. I might make another video about that as well, and there was a big disaster on Andreeva Bay in Russia, when about 700,000 tons of heavily nuclear water was dropped into Barents Sea, and it was polluting the world ocean. And so on. So if Putin is thinking that he just pushed the button and everything gonna work, he very well mistaken. And so this is practically Putin's nuclear weapons, Putin's only last resort and only resort. That is why he still keep waving that card in the air, and he said a while ago, I'm not bluffing. He's bluffing, and he's bluffing again. As far as I heard, he's really careful about his life, and he's so trying to preserve his health that even taking a bath in the blood of a reindeer or something, with some shamans or something. And really careful about his health, as you can clearly see in every picture how he sitting far away on the end of the big table from people, and don't even visit in war lines like Zelensky, for instance. So that is what Putin. He's a coward, and he's trying to preserve his life by any means possible. So I highly doubt that he ever will push nuclear button in any way, even not strategical nuclear weapons, but tactical ones. But of course, nobody can dismiss it completely and so on, because if Putin will lose power, if he will lose the war, he will lose power. If he will lose power, he will lose life. And he will. Ukraine will win. And another fact I heard from several reliable sources, like even Putin's own speechwriter and stuff like that. Basically, Putin is looking for escape route into Venezuela. The plan called Ark, like Noah's Ark and so on. And he should, because this is the end of him. His days are numbered, and Putin will be done for soon enough. Ukraine will win. There is no doubt about it. Just a question how many people gonna die on both sides before that happens. And here is the mighty Russian rocket Sarmat, attached to Sarmat mobile. It said on the rocket to Washington.
С вами Sarmat Mobile.
And this said Sarmat mobile. Sarmat car.
Изделие RS-28.
На Вашингтон. Байдену привет.
And this man saying that the rocket is to Washington as hello to Biden. Well, this is accurate representation of Russian army. This is what it looks like. It's a disaster attached to disastrous car. He can't even make to Washington in this car, let alone on this rocket. So no point to be afraid of Putin's nuclear threats. That's the only resort Putin has, because he lost the war and keeps throwing people into the fire to die, just because he just sitting in his bunker and hope that some miracle gonna happen and he not gonna lose, which it not gonna happen. That is why we will keep supporting Ukraine, and the Western countries doing a lot already, and they will give Ukraine more weapons, also I hope, and long-range weapons and defensive weapons as anti-missiles and so on. And Ukraine will win. It's just a matter of time. And I believe the time will be next spring, probably by summer or something like that. Next year for sure, in my opinion. And it's based on the opinion of military experts I heard so far, and so on. So thank you for watching my video, and please support me and subscribe and spread out the word of truth by sharing my video. Thank you for your support, and have a great day. See you later.